Oscar. Pronouns he, him. Calling in from clucking anteaters. Why are they clucking? You know what I mean? What's that all about? Who says God's evidence is obvious. Oscar, you're on the line with Forrest and Zina. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great after watching that. I just want to start this by saying he just slam dunked on you guys. But anyway.
Oh, did he? That's great.
Yeah.
So you also believe in idealism then, or do you think just his argument style?
Yeah, I mean, just the way he presented it was so beautiful. I'm just going to be agnostic to the proposition of idealism. But anyways, moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, God.
Hey, opinions exist.
Obvious.
So what? Let's start with the same place we did with him, and let's see maybe you can slam dunk on us the way you think that he did. What God do you believe in?
Yeah, the God.
Okay, so Allah, the God of the Muslims.
That would be fine, but I wouldn't consider myself a Muslim, yeah.
Okay, so then you're talking about the God, which is Vishnu, the God of the Hindus.
That wouldn't work either. I'm talking about the God.
Okay, so it's certainly not the God, because both those guys go, oh, Quetzalcoatl, the God who controls the sun.
Nope, those wouldn't be considered gods.
Oh, they certainly were. Millions of worshippers.
That's fine. That was just that wouldn't work. Just because a bunch of people follow and call something doesn't make it something.
Hey, it's going to be really important that you said that later on. So what the God are you talking about then?
Yeah, the true God.
Right. So we're talking about then, of course, Ra, the God of the sun with the eagle head.
Nope. The true God.
Oh, but that's the true God, though.
We would call it just the prime mover.
So
do you want to give us a little bit?
So just to be clear, when you say the God, what you are actually talking about, this is why I'm bringing up all these other gods that everybody has said is the one true God and all these things. When you say the God, what you mean is your preferred interpretation of your preferred version of your preferred translation of your preferred style of your preferred philosophical framework of your preferred God.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm using the analytical definition of God.
And that is the
prime mover.
The God.
So when I ask you what God you believe in and you don't give me any details, I'm supposed to assume this whole philosophical, classical, blah, 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 blah that you believe in, or is that not how that works?
It's not what I said at all. I said I believe in the God, and then you asked me what is that God, and I told you it's the prime mover.
That doesn't tell me anything. Lots of religions have believed in a prime mover, and you don't believe in any of them.
What do you think a prime mover is, Forrest?
The word prime mover, as I've been fed it, usually is whoever started all of this. Before time and space and the universe and blah, 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 you had to have something to kick all of this off. The first thing to make action, to make matter move, the prime mover is this God that people believe in. That's the way it's usually said to me. If that's not what you mean, I would love to hear it, because I keep just asking you what God you believe in, and you keep not giving me an answer.
I gave you the answer 3 times now, and you defined what the prime mover is. So clearly you know what I'm talking about.
I think that the issue that we're coming across here is that multiple different types of people with multiple different types of interpretation have used the same, definition, right? Very vaguely. Usually they have a whole text that's a couple hundred pages to substantiate what they mean, right? When they say the prime mover, but usually there's a little bit more content than that, because that phrase is used so much by multiple different interpretations of God. So do you want to give us a little bit more context, or do you just want us to assume that you're a Christian or whatever?
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't mention any text, by the way. I would just tell you that I reject
nobody said you did.
Right.
Are we having the same conversation?
No, I understand what you said, by the way. Yeah, you could consider me.
Then why did you throw out something completely irrelevant?
No, because she said there's multiple interpretations of God, and there's multiple religions with hundreds of texts that have these interpretations of God, and I would just tell you those wouldn't be God, so that wouldn't make sense. I told you that the definition of God is just... Yeah, I told you that the definition of God is just analytically true, by the way.
Right, so you said the prime mover is God, right? I could say that, the universe expanded millions and billions of years ago, and that, force or whatever, right, that caused it to expand is God. It's the prime mover. It's the start of everything that we know today. Are you cool with that being God, or what?
No, because the first thing that you said the prime mover is God. That wouldn't make sense. God is the prime mover. Second of all,
okay.
No,
What?
the Big Bang would just explain.
A equals A,
yeah,
but A does not equal A.
Do you think that those things are synonymous?
Exactly.
Do you think that those things are synonymous?
The prime mover is God. Do you know what that means when you say that?
That wouldn't make sense. That would imply that.
Yeah.
No, that would imply that the prime mover, the definition of prime mover, would be distinct from being God.
That does not imply that. Saying the prime mover is God does not entail
that wouldn't make sense.
There's something distinct. That doesn't make sense because that's not what I said. I said the prime mover is God, right? So then, and then you made this argument that this would mean that the prime mover is distinct from God. Nothing in that sentence entails that. Did you learn first grade grammar? What?
I don't think you have.
Oscar, can you see the screen? Can you see the screen where we are?
Yes, I see two people that hate Jesus.
Okay. Yeah, you're wrong about that too. You're wrong about that too. But just really quick, it's going to take a second. It's going to take a second for it to show up on the screen, but I'm going to draw some on my whiteboard here. It says A equals B. Okay? A equals B. Now, my question to you, does it make no sense to say B equals A? If I say B doesn't equal A, does that mean, do these mean the same thing? Does this make any sense logically? If A equals B, can B not equal A? Is this possible?
No, so that's not what I'm saying, right? So B in this context would have a different implication, right? So B being the prime mover would indicate that there's another form.
Yeah. So if you're saying something is something else, dude, respectfully, if you're saying that something is something else, it cannot mean that the
in the context that you used it, you said that there's a prime mover. There's a prime mover outside of God.
There's no context. You just said words.
God, yeah, God is the prime mover, not the prime mover being God.
Is there any more? Are there any more prime movers? How many prime movers are there, Oscar?
Yeah, there would only be one, and that's analytics.
Okay, right. So God is the only prime mover. So if I say the prime mover is God, that's no longer an equal sign. That's an exactly sign. That's the equal sign with the 3 lines. It means this is exactly the same thing. You are just getting caught up on the dumbest logical hangup I've ever fucking heard of. And also, neither of us hate Jesus. That's the wildest thing to just throw out there for no reason.
Why would you say that?
We've already established that you hate Jesus. This was on another call with us, Forrest.
When? What did I say specifically that said I hate Jesus?
The truth seeker guy.
Who?
The truth seeker guy. What's his name?
No idea what you're talking about.
Really intellectual. But anyways, that's besides the point. Yeah, so I see two people that hate Jesus, and don't understand.
Do you believe in Darth Vader, Oscar?
Do I believe in him?
Yeah. Is he real?
Yeah, what do you mean by believe, by the way?
Do you think he's real? It's Jordan Peterson again.
Well,
do you think Darth Vader is a real guy?
Yeah, when you say real, do you mean he corresponds to reality? If so, then yeah. I mean, clearly. Maybe his attributes don't.
So you think that there is an actual physical person named Darth Vader who has a lightsaber and can manipulate the Force and lives on a starship flying around and all? You think those are all real things that really exist in the real world?
Yeah, I just said to you that there could be a Darth Vader that doesn't have his attributes. Yeah, that's correct. So I don't know where you're getting the lightsaber from.
So what does it mean to be Darth Vader?
I am defining the character.
Oh, that's a good question. What does it mean to be Darth Vader? We could use that as what does it mean to be God? Would you agree?
No.
Of course. I think Wait, hold on. We were trying to get at the whole point of this conversation is us trying to figure out what you mean when you say what is God, and you keep giving us these vague, responses that map onto many different kinds of gods. So I think we're trying to get at the substance of this God, so the character, the nature of him, so we can critique whether or not he could actually exist.
Yeah, that's fine. But when you say there's many definitions of this God, I don't know what that means. There is one true God. So anyone else who refers to anything but this thing
here's where
God
I'm at with it is that this is, it's still funny. It's still funny, but it's getting to the end of funny. So like this is time. It's a time wasting. Well, you are being funny because it's so fucking dumb. Now, that's the problem, is that, like, to me, from my perspective, this is obviously a troll call, right? You're obviously just fucking around wasting time saying dumb shit. But the problem is you're running out of funny. So, like, this is your opportunity to be funny. Like, if you want to stay on the call and continue being fun, like, you're making religious people look silly, which isn't not outside of our purpose, but, like, it's not the point of the show. I'm not trying to make people look bad, but it's still something to laugh at. So, like, if you have anything funny you want to continue with, I'm down, but it's running out of funny, and I don't want to let it get boring.
I don't know what kind of, like, reasoning you're using to get to that point, but that's fine. If you just like the evidence for the one true God, just ask for that, since you clearly can't track with anything else.
I would love the evidence for the one true God.
Yeah, that's easy. So P1 would just be that if moral realism is true, there has to be a God that grounds them. P2, moral realism is true. Conclusion.
Right off the bat,
whoa,
wrong.
You don't think moral realism is true?
No, God, no.
What's going to be the argument for that?
That moral realism isn't true?
Yeah.
Define morals. Define morals.
Yeah, so when we say morals, we're just talking about, for example, what we ought to do, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Why not?
Ooh, so you would agree with that, right?
Not that they exist.
I don't know why you made it. I don't know why you made me clarify when I just plainly said yes, but whatever.
Yeah. So when we say ought, right, those would be implying that there's some sort of normative authority, right? That would, like, transcend the human opinion. Yeah.
Hold on.
So
when someone
oughts are just facts.
Hold on. Let's just start here, right? There are many different ways that we use the word ought, right, in society, and some of them are used like in ways to propose moral realism, and some not. Usually, like, people have some type of stance or some reason that, like, attributes to some stance. So usually, like, when we talk about an ought, it's somewhat descriptive, like, underlyingly. For example, when you say you ought to do something, why? Because it'll be good for you. For example, if you say you ought to brush your teeth. The only way that you ought to brush your teeth, if we look at it, is if you want an outcome, is if you want your teeth to be cleaner, if you want your breath to smell good, etc. To prove that there is some stance-independent reason is actually, it really doesn't make much sense. So, and also when we just look at this idea of, like, morals being objectively, like, true and objectively to be the case, to say something is moral in of itself and self-evidently moral, you can't even substantiate that, because that would mean that there is a reason, something underlying that moral principle, and the moral principle in of itself is fundamental. So there's also a problem there. So
I also want to throw out there that, like, if the fundamental argument, even if I accept the premise that there is this thing as this standard of morality that is then given by this absolute moral giver, that still doesn't make it objective. That actually continues making it subjective. And because at the end of the day, morality is whatever this God says, and the God is a subject. So it is still subjective morality. Even if this God never changes its mind, it remains a subjective standard. So at the end of the day, I agree with what Zina said. The word ought is fuzzy in this way. It does not necessarily mean any kind of, like, higher order to things. And also, I don't think that, like, any kind of, like, morality is dependent upon the existence of humans making judgments about things. There is no morality on Jupiter, period, because there's nothing living on Jupiter to decide what is right or wrong. And so when we talk about us, morality is largely relative. Some things I could say I would hesitate to ever find a time that it's a good thing. But at the end of the day, every independent action is judged on its own merit and accord, and any God that exists that is what people would call a God, omnipotent, omnibenevolent, blah, 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 could not exist under a framework where morality exists in any capacity. unless that god is, of course, incredibly evil. And see, just like that, Oscar, we squeezed blood from a stone. We actually got an interesting lesson out of your bullshit troll call. We made some use of it, and that's what this show is all about. Making a bad thing good, as Rostamouse says. Making a bad thing good. And with that, I'm good. I don't see any point in entertaining a troll any further. What about you, Zina? Do you want to keep talking to Oscar?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Have an awesome rest of your day, Oscar. Tell your mom I said hi.
Hey there, Eric. Noting that anyone watching that clip makes atrociously poor life decisions, where should they send their protection money to prevent further damage?
All protection money should be sent to patreon.com/calltheline, or else we will break your kneecaps.
Okay, we can't say that. I think we can't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hit like and subscribe.